Think of your favorite film. The story was born out of someone's head. Even if it was adapted from a book, it came from someone's imagination. It was only 2 years ago that the actors and writers shut down Hollywood with strikes demanding protections from AI. Well, now 2 films using the technology were honored at the Oscars. In this episode of Life Unscripted, the good, the bad, and the ugly of AI-generated film. Well, joining me is screenwriter, director, actor, adjunct film professor. What are you? A whole bunch of things. Patrick Coyle, and also, I must say, somebody who I've known for a long time and a friend. He's been very busy in the last decade or longer, actually. His films include The Public Domain, Detective Fiction, Unholy Communion, and Into Temptation. So that is, that's a little tidbit of what you've been doing as far as films.
Correct.
All right, we're going to get into some of the films that you've been working on, but because this conversation, we're going to start with AI.
Okay.
When you first heard of AI technology and it being out there and being used in the creative world, whether it's writing or in any capacity, what were your first thoughts about that?
So my policy has been for as long as I've been in this business, whether I'm doing a reading of a new screenplay, whether I'm casting a film or a play, it's really important to me to pay people. I think that it's ridiculous, the amount of work that goes into writing a script, the amount of work that goes into acting a script. It's unbelievably time-consuming. Actors need to be paid. So when I hear about films that are using AI, where the background has people walking around that are some weird amalgamation of human beings that are out on the internet that they're able to grab, and it's appalling to me to think that because my image is out there everywhere like crazy. I've been doing commercials and corporate training films, and I've acted in dozens and dozens of films, and I've now made 4 films, and I think it's just wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right in any way, especially when you're talking about something that it's creative. I know the AI technology and the voice recognition is something that some actors have been on board with. And they're actually lending their voices for, potential works, in the film industry, which then I also think of, well, then that's going to kick somebody else off of. I mean, whether it's Michael Caine, who's already been around since the beginning of time and now will continue, his voice will,
Sure.
It's going to be there.
Michael Caine's kind of a for-profit actor. I love Michael Caine. He's done some brilliant, great work and worked in amazing films, but he once famously said his criteria for doing a film is where are you shooting? Who's catering the project? What's the budget? And what's my role? It seems a little upside down as far as criteria goes, but anyway.
Yeah, and so it is.
My theory about actors, it's such, on any given day, 95% of professional actors are unemployed. That's a shocking figure.
Yeah, that is.
So actors do what they need to do to make a living. So I don't judge other actors if they do things like lending their voice to some kind of weird AI library. It's not something I would do.
And yet it continues to grow. It's astonishing to me. I mean, when we first heard about it and how much it's being used now, it's breathtaking. And I know, so you are a SAG-carrying actor.
Yeah, I'm SAG-AFTRA. I'm Actors Equity. I'm Directors Guild. I'm an adjunct professor, so I'm also in the Janitors Union. That's where they throw adjuncts, and proud to be in it.
During the strike, let's go back to 2 years. When everybody was on strike, what was that like as an actor to be in that during that time frame?
Yeah. It sucked. Strikes are always awful. Mm-hmm. Probably, for everybody involved. I think that the thing that got me the most and this is sort of a segue into how I feel about AI a little bit. But the first strike I watched, it created reality television, right? Scripted television started to slowly go away, and reality television started to come into play, and it's become everywhere, ubiquitous. I don't like reality television. There's a lot of people to do. I don't judge them. Yes, I do. But
I know.
reality television is the lowest common denominator, okay? And putting that out has always struck me as it's very anti-actor. It's very anti-script writer. It's cheap.
Yeah.
It's lowest common denominator again. And I think AI too is, I loved your intro when you talked about scripts and ideas coming from the brain and coming from the imagination and coming from the heart and coming from the soul. The scripts that I am drawn to, the movies I'm drawn to, are groundbreaking, and they break rules, and there's no way they could have been generated by the databases of AI, which are like one of my kind of a buzzword of the 80s was best practices. I always hated that. It's like, let's look around at what everybody else is doing really well, and then let's just incorporate that. AI is kind of this huge database of everything that, machines know how to kind of
it's hard to
boil
think
down.
But how can you create a person out there? I mean, I know that there was a story some time ago about an actor, a female, who was out there, and there was press about this from, this artificial intelligence generated actor. And you just it made me stop and go, is this for real? And, if she's, for hire, I'm like, well, first of all, who's hiring her? And they're not hiring, what are they hiring? What are they hiring? Are they hiring, somebody, at a keyboard? How can you possibly create a person with, multiple layers and, the flaws and the goodness that we see on screen that we are drawn to? How can, grabbing information from the internet really create a character that people can relate to?
I haven't seen it yet. And I've dabbled with AI. I've experimented. I've explored to see what it's like. I did try to use AI for one project. In fact, my last project, Unholy Communion. I wrote the script. I was hired to adapt a novel. The writer gave me carte blanche to adapt it the way I felt it needed to be, played in a film. And he was great, Thomas Rumreich. And so everybody was happy with the script. Like my absolute weakness, I'm horrible at it, is writing a log line. 25 words or less. Give us this incredibly and just little scintillating nugget of what you've just worked on for the last 2 years. And it's like, maybe ChatGPT can help me with this. And they threw me a bunch of stuff that was all really lame. None of it grabbed it for me. None of it. I wound up using something that I wrote that's not great, but it worked better than anything I got from ChatGPT. And maybe it helped me generate some new ideas about how to approach it. So again, I don't judge people that use it. I think there's probably a place for AI, but it's never ever going to replace. I'm an independent filmmaker, so what we get to do is say our vision actually makes it to the screen. It's like I watch my indie films, and whether you like them or you don't like them, I go, "That's what I meant." Mm-hmm. This is me looking at the screen
voice.
right now. Yeah, it's my voice,
Yeah.
and it's the most gratifying thing I've ever done in my life. And I look at the films that I'm drawn to. There's no way AI could have written Pulp Fiction. It just broke every cinematic rule that had ever come along, and it's been imitated and imitated over and over for years. But there's just
But then you have these, I use Star Wars as an example. There's Star Wars 32 now or whatever. There's constant marketing of a product, essentially.
Yeah.
And I've got to believe that, the studios will now be, the quote-unquote blockbusters will just be all AI generated.
Absolutely, because the studios want to find ways to pay less people to crank out product that's more efficient, that will make them money. The bottom line is always the bottom line. There's the art of filmmaking and there's the commerce of filmmaking. And if you're an indie filmmaker, you're all about the art. The commerce is something that's pretty foreign.
Yeah.
I'm still driving a 2016 Honda Civic. That's my commerce. Okay.
Yeah, no judgment. Have you seen my car out there? Never mind. It's missing part of a bumper.
But I wanted to ask you something.
Here I am.
I read a screenplay once. It was this really, really honest, well-written, heartbreaking, beautiful family drama that was written by Alix Kendall. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I
you
do.
shared a screenplay with me once, and I was amazed. I was like, oh my God, she can write. This is good. This is honest. Can you fathom a world where AI could have written that?
No.
No.
I can't.
That came from your heart and your soul and your
stories.
spirit.
And, most people write what they know. And that's where good stories, I think, come from, is people's personal experience.
Yeah.
And, that process of writing, rewriting, as I'm sure you're aware of, then realizing at some point, I'm not sure if I'm up to this task. I just, thought about, making, a film, producing a film or making a film seems very difficult to do. You said, and I'm like, what
You
am
just
I
said
doing?
a mouthful.
But so the bottom line was I really enjoyed the process. I backburnered it. Maybe I'll pick it up again sometime. It was kind of just one story. It doesn't mean I didn't have others, but I was really focused on it. And, it had its time in my life. And as I said, back now, it's on the back burner for now. But I found it really challenging in moving forward and working with some people on that script who wanted to make it something that it wasn't. And then we decided we had our creative differences and, we
good for
moved
you.
on. And
Because what I read was something pure and something good and something it's the kind of movie I would like to go see. And
well, thanks, Patrick.
yeah,
It's not
no,
an
you're
easy,
welcome.
screenwriting and just, making
oh,
films
yeah, it's a
is-
whole different deal. You're all by yourself. It's so solitary.
Yeah.
And then you go, I think I want to make this film. And then you have to take your script somewhere. Somebody else has to read it. A producer has to come on board. Producer might like it. And then you start bringing investors on board because indie films get made with private equity. I don't care what anybody says. There's no studio system or a big production company out there that's going to bankroll most indie films, okay? So you go find a way to make a small budget film via private equity. If you're lucky, you'll sell the film. I've gotten distribution on all 4 of my films. I'm proud of that.
Congrats.
It's just,
that is a big deal.
yeah, one of them Into Temptation with Kristin Chenoweth and Jeremy Sisto, 2 actors that were just dreamy to work with. I love them both. Kristin Chenoweth is a mountain of talent.
And she spent a lot of time on Broadway.
Yeah,
wasn't
Kristin
she?
Chenoweth on Broadway. She was in the original production of Wicked,
Oh, right.
and she appeared in the film briefly.
Yep, that's right. I don't want to give it away.
But she's everywhere. Kristin Chenoweth does a lot of stuff: television, film, theater.
How did you nab her?
This is a true story.
A lot of dollars, just throwing
No.
money. No.
I called her manager and I said, is your client remotely interested in playing a suicidal prostitute? And her manager said, we've been looking for that. I'm not kidding. And I went, oh, I got a script I'd like to send you. And I popped it in there. I had written her a letter first. I have 6 sisters from Omaha, Nebraska, and they all took a trip with my mother to New York to see Wicked.
Oh, yeah.
And they raved about it. And I sent her a letter and said, my 6 sisters and my mother saw it. And she got back to me. So I had a little connection with Kristin. She read my script and loved it and said, I'm in. Now, she said, I'm in if I can approve of who's playing opposite me.
Oh, okay.
The movie's about a priest and a hooker.
But, it was the human connection there that ended up truly kind of what the two of you reached out to her.
So I got lucky on that project.
It is that time of year when we want to be cozy, right? And here I am in my pajamas. I love my Cozy Earth pajamas. They are made of bamboo, which gets softer every time you wash them. Cozy Earth also offers sheets, bedding of any kind, socks, anything you want to be cozy in. Cozy Earth has it. So now is the time to buy also holiday pajama sets, men's, women's. Check them out. It's a holiday season. You get 41% off if you use my promo code Life Unscripted. Just go to my show notes and you'll find the link. Click on that and you get a deal. Let's get cozy.
I got lucky in my first film that went to the Sundance Film Festival. The head of programming at the time at the Sundance Film Festival walked up to me. My film was about a guy that was in a court-mandated sobriety and was going through a very troubled marriage. And this guy walked over, the head programmer walked up and threw his arm around me and said, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going through a divorce right now. And shit that came out of your main character's mouth has come out of my mouth. And I'm the reason you're here. I loved your script so much, or I loved your movie so much. And I was like, boy, I'm sorry about your divorce, but actually kind of happy about it too. No.
Well,
so
and again, you wrote from, well, I mean, that was a story that it started with
It's very personal.
So you've got the personal stories and the time that you spend, writing the screenplay. I can't imagine, well, okay, back to cost saving, because it is a business. And for writers out there or for, movie makers who might say, well, we can save a lot of money in, when you're traveling and, you have location shoots. Some are jumping on board because they're like, well, we can save money in location shoots, for instance.
Instead of like building sets and going into
the
studio. Yeah. That's pretty much what you have to do as an indie filmmaker is go on location. It gets back to how do we pay less people to do more and make more money. I'm not saying that the genius, writers of code and computer programmers that created AI were necessarily, but the people that run the, especially the studio system of Hollywood films, they're like, oh my God, this is a godsend.
Well, people seem to be getting convinced that, and maybe some of it is true, whatever the job is, and I'm not even just talking about, filmmaking right now, any job is that the positive side, the good, is that it might give you time to focus on things that you enjoy doing, and that maybe you'll be able to spend less time doing something that you really don't like doing or you don't do well. I mean, that is the arc of the AI storyline that I keep reading out there in the news.
Sure, I would say that has almost nothing to do with an independent filmmaker, almost nothing. Like there's no free time, there's no spare time, and there's nothing. I think you do. An artist does their art because they have to. I hate to say that, but it's true. It's like I'd do something else and be making. I come from a family with a bunch of lawyers and CPAs and doctors, and they make good money, and I'm this weirdo that gravitated to the arts. And there's many times I've gone, man, the road less traveled. Why didn't I jump on that other one? I don't regret it for a second.
Yeah,
I do it because I have to do it. But being busy and making my art, to farm out part of it to AI so I could save time, that's something that would never, ever happen. For the studio system or production companies to farm it out to save money. You're right. It is a business. They say the problem with the art of filmmaking is the business of filmmaking. The problem with the business of filmmaking is the art of filmmaking. And so we're constantly trying to, divide that chasm.
So
span it.
You work also as an adjunct professor, and and film is the subject. Are there some new areas that the students are curious about, or even I don't know if you even go into AI as part of your material?
Well, I mean, technology is just amazing. I shot my first film on film, and it's unbelievable. Just 20 years ago. It's unbelievable.
People are shooting on their phones.
Yeah, I mean we're probably and people are making movies on their phones. When I submitted my first film to Sundance, I beat out 1,200 other films to be one of the 32 that gets selected for competition at Sundance. Okay, so that's amazing.
Huge.
I submitted my last film, Unholy Communion, and they got back to me and said, "There's just not a place for it." Somebody gave my sales agent we liked the film, but there just wasn't a place for it. 18,000 films. 18,000 films are submitted to Sundance this year, and they pick 32. So, a lot of people can make movies? Should a lot of people make
No,
movies?
no. Well, okay, here's an example of something. So recently, my friend Tim and I were on the phone, and we were talking about AI and how people are using it. And he's embraced some of it. I mean, we all have. We just, in some form, we may not even realize it. But he said, okay, we're gonna write a scene while we're on the phone. And we did, and back and forth, some dialogue, and it was literally, like maybe we spent
Just
2
you guys,
minutes.
you guys riffing.
Yeah, just riffing,
Sure.
just riffing. So we did that, and then I would say a minute later, he came back. He sent me the video, which was scary and unsettling. So unsettling because when he called, he's like, "You're not going to believe what you can do," and I'm like, "Why are you doing this?"
Yeah.
And then I didn't believe him, and then it led to us
you're on the
actually
phone.
We're on the phone. It happened while we were on the phone.
And then there was a video he created.
While we were on the phone.
So
I'll show it to you after.
Yeah,
afterward.
I'd love to see it.
It was on the fly, but it as I said, I thought it was disturbing. You could just spend no time or have any thought to putting something together that took other movie makers years of crafting and learning, even shooting. I know. So, how many elements of filmmaking? I know you've directed and you've written a lot.
Yeah. I've written all the scripts that I've made. 3 of them are original screenplays. The one I just made, I adapted a novel. I used to think that the script was the most important element of any film, and it's critically important to have a script that's really, really been worked hard on and hammered down and says what it wants to say in the right way. But I now think acting is the most important element of narrative filmmaking. And I realized that the second the acting, it's just my wheelhouse. I'm a geek about great acting. And I've been called an actor's director. It's just incredibly high praise to get that label on me. But some actors you just get out of the way. And some actors you need to work with them, and some actors you need to parent, and some actors you need to, be their psychologist or therapist. And I finally realized that whatever it takes, I'm willing, because it's going to pay off in my films to see the second the acting goes a little wrong, an audience doesn't even know why they've fallen out, but they're like, "Is this movie almost over?" And it's the acting. I've finally realized that.
Really?
And there's performances that are great, but they don't belong in the film you're making, and you've got to right-size them, and you've got to know what the arc of the narrative is and where it's supposed to be. And so directing challenges me like nothing I've ever done, and I love it very much. But yes, I work so hard on my scripts, and I try to make them actor-proof. I try to make the dialogue so real and so truthful that you can't screw it up. And that takes a ton of time. And that could never be done by AI.
Have you ever gotten up from a great night's sleep, but then you look over at your pillowcase and you're like, ew, what's on there? Well, I have the perfect solution and a great gift for the holidays. They're called Copper North pillowcases. And what makes these unique is these are copper-infused silk pillowcases, which means they're antibacterial. They'll keep your pillowcase cleaner. Also, your skin will be glowing more and your hair less frizzy, less breakouts. They're great gift ideas. And this is what's perfect. They're also machine washable. So I've arranged a 15% discount for my listeners. Just use the promo code LifeUnscripted. You can find it in my show notes. Click on that link and you will see the Copper North pillowcases. But again, you still have time. When you write dialogue, you probably are speaking it out loud.
I hear it.
Or you hear it in your head.
I was always that kind of a reader growing up. If I was reading a book, I could hear everybody talking in my head. I was a slow reader because I wanted to hear everything. And I think it's helped me a lot as a screenwriter. Huh. Do you read that way?
No, I can, but for instance, when I'm writing, I say it out loud.
That's good. If it comes out of your mouth, it's going to come out of an actor's mouth. Right?
While I'm doing it.
Okay.
And then I'll go back and delete. But I generally I have to say it out loud. Especially like I like writing dialogue. And again, this was kind of like a little something that I did on the side for a while that I really enjoyed. But I found that writing dialogue was to me the really fun thing to just speak naturally. And
I love great dialogue. I love to write.
There's nothing better than it.
Yeah.
Nothing better. I'm not much into explosions and those
100%.
kind of no, not at all. But I mean, they sell, and we're also dealing with attention spans that, they're TikTok attention spans. So you got to be like,
yeah.
so
I think
what do you
that's
do
true
there?
for the most part. I think there's still an audience for intelligent, character-driven, well-written films. They're not never going to be hugely profitable, but I mean, there are some films that break through. Every year, you look at films that I'm trying to think of more recent examples, but my jaw just dropped watching the Korean film Parasite. I don't know if you saw that. But,
I love that film.
oh my
I've watched
God.
it 3 times.
There's films like that.
Crazy. It was so intense. I had to see it 3 times to really get through it. I mean, just the dark and the light and the basement and the
Yes, and the water rushing down, and all the poor people being poured.
I love
really,
that movie.
really just powerful. That's what the medium of film can do. And, are you still writing?
I not as much, and I'm primarily focused on the podcast.
Yeah.
And what I do enjoy is researching topics for the podcast, and part of that is just writing some things out.
Sure.
So in a way, I guess I think I still am, but it's not. There is something you mentioned. It's an isolating experience, and after leaving the news business for so long. And being, with so many people all day long, it was an adjustment, and I felt that it was just something that it was too solitary for me. I can do it in like little bursts, but over the years, I had been writing on the weekends, and I was pretty disciplined. I'd get up early before my daughter would wake up, like 5 in the morning, because my body clock was doing that. And that was, to me, my time of writing early in the morning, right after I got up.
Best
then
time.
it just like flowed out. And then it was done until, so I would just do that on the weekends for, I don't know, a couple of years. And but the thing is, and this is, I'm sure you have to be this way, that story was just in my head all day long. It was just every minute.
Oh, yeah,
of the
you're
day
working on it all day.
consumed
You're walking
by it.
around with it 100%. Whether you're sitting at the laptop, that's the way I write too. It's, in fact, most of my scripts get written while I'm taking long walks.
I was going to say, everybody has a different creative writing process, and some put out an outline, and I've tried that. I know that that's important in some respects to have an outline.
I've never written an outline. It's not how I write. It sounds pretentious to say this, but I channel scripts. I really do. I get an idea for something, and I write it, and I just go, oh, of course, this has to go there. And then I go that direction, and I go, well, where am I now? Oh, God, you got to turn here. And I turn there.
That's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah.
Exactly what happened to me. The formula, I got so stuck in, I'm in a flow, and I got to stop because it's not matching the formula.
Oh, there's these books out there that are just all about the formulaic 3-act structure of a screenplay. I've read them all. The only book on screenwriting that I've ever responded to was Story by Robert McKee. It's an amazing, great.
I think you gave me that book.
Did I?
Yeah. You did. It sits on my bookshelf proudly.
But there's another one that's like, Kill the Cat or See
Blake
the Cat.
Snyder's Kill the what
it's
is
not
it?
Kill. It's like
Something to kill the cat.
Kick the cat or the cat and the. I read that book and I hated it. Some producer suggested it. I was like, it's fine. It's going to give you the 3-act structure of how to write a screenplay, and you have these points that you have to hit. And when people give me a screenplay like that, that's just absolutely followed that formula.
You can see it probably.
It's
right
like
away.
an AI script. It doesn't have the heart and the soul and the imagination that you talk about. So many people give me scripts because I've gotten some films made. I've sold a lot of scripts. I don't almost never. I just recently read a screenplay that I really liked by a woman named Sandy Harris, and I almost never like them because they're just people don't.
I was going to say, do you get
A lot of people send me their scripts.
But I mean, okay, so people that send you scripts that are AI generated?
Oh no!
Okay, these are just
they could be. Some of them feel like it. It's quite possible that many of them have gone there. But I just don't, you sent me a script that I responded to and loved. And script I read recently I responded to, but most screenplays are really bad. 10% are okay.
Are you any curious like me? Kensho non-alcoholic cocktails by RSRV Collective are ready to drink, and they're made with premium botanicals, natural citrus, and spices. These drinks are inspired by classic cocktails like a gin and tonic and an old-fashioned. The Rosata combines sweet cherry with a sharp ginger finish. The Amari channels kind of an Italian aperitif. Doesn't that sound good? The cocktails were recognized by BevNet as a Best of 2023 non-alcoholic beverage. And you can get 30% off when you use my promo code LifeUnscripted. Find them at rsrvcollective.com. Cheers. The very latest one.
Okay.
And that one's...
It's called Unholy Communion. A man who is a forensic odontologist, which is a dentist who identifies like burn victims via their dental. And he works with police departments. He did that for 20 years. But he was also the victim of clergy abuse when he was a boy. And he kept that secret for decades and decades and decades. And all of a sudden, he needed to come out with it, and he did it via this novel. So it's like a Minnesota film noir vigilante story. It's just it's powerful because there are strains of his own really deeply personal, emotional story there. But it's not the kind of story that I've told before, so it was challenging to work on something that was different, that had, police procedural facets to it. And I hate guns.
Yeah.
I never wanted guns to be in any movies that I've made, but there was this vigilante aspect to it. And so we shot those in a way that was so much more psychological than violent, and I'm very, very proud of that. But it was a challenge to work on this project. I was offered the job to adapt it, and then private equity really liked the product and started coming on board, and pretty soon we had enough budget to make a little indie film, and it's done really well. We sold it, and it's out there digitally everywhere. So
you have how many films have you?
I've made
done?
4 films.
4 films.
And I didn't make my first one until I was in my early 40s.
You were late in the game. Yeah. I know. So before that,
I was acting on stage. I was acting in films. I was doing a ton of voiceover work. I was the voice of AirTouch Cellular for a long time until Verizon bought them, and they fired me, and they replaced me with James Earl Jones. And that's street cred.
Yeah, that is.
I brag about getting fired and replaced by, the
People
man.
were like, yeah, I understand. I get that.
Yeah. Can't compete.
Well, now voice work, I hear, is not, that's where a lot of AI is being used. And voice actors are getting out.
Yeah, I'm all screw AI. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So, no. All right. So there we have it. There's Patrick Coyle's take on AI in film, screenwriting and filmmaking.
No, I think there is a place for it. I think there's a really wonderful place for it in research.
I was just going to say research. And maybe if you want to learn about some little small town in Ireland.
Oh God, I do it all the time. I just, it's like Google on steroids, right?
Right.
Is that an app description?
That's pretty much it.
And you can get there and quickly go, blah, 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 blah. Yep, okay, I know about it now. I can go write about it. But the writing about it is always my voice and my imagination. But I just have details that I need about, the small town in Ireland, or
that seems like a good use.
Forensic odontology in my last script.
Or verbiage, something that would be useful. So I guess there might be little pockets. We've hit the good and the bad, and we know that the ugly is probably going to come.
Yes.
Some really ugly film that will be, I'm guessing, noticeable to most of us, that it's not real. They're not real actors. That certain things are fake.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting used to that
I
fakeness.
worry that it's going to be not noticeable to most of us. That's my biggest fear of AI, is that we're going to get used to that. And it's going to me, I see it and I go, fake, that's fake, that's real, fake, fake, fake. I can see it. I'm almost sure in my.
It's just going to get boiled down to where.
But I think
we're going to get
once
used
it
to
becomes
seeing
ubiquitous and everywhere, it's just, you're right, we get used to seeing it. And it's like, well, this is just our reality now. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's my
Well, that's your take,
Yeah.
and that's why I brought you here.
yeah.
What are you working on now? Do you have something?
I'm really, really excited about a film that I'm going to start shooting in June.
Oh, what can you tell me?
I've got investors that have come on board. We aren't there yet, but we're really, really, we're getting there. I think it's going to happen. It's about my hometown, Omaha, Nebraska. I grew up on Leavenworth Street, and that's the working title of the screenplay. And I just love this script, Alix. I hope I get a chance to make it. It's my heart and soul film about my hometown. It's got some really wonderful characters. It's got a really powerful denouement. I really want to make this film.
You know, I have a feeling you will, and I hope you will.
I'm just crazy enough to get her done.
Patrick, my buddy, I've known forever, who used to live in a house, the crazy party house, the best place to go to a Halloween party back in the 80s.
Yeah, it was.
You lived in that crazy house. That's how I met him.
Survived it.
We've been friends for years. It's so great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you, Alix.
Life Unscripted, as always, Patrick Coyle. Always good to have you as a guest.
Honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for subscribing to Life Unscripted. Remember, when you purchase any item from my deals page, I get paid and you support my podcast. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.